Whether you love him or hate him, Stephen A. Smith is easily one of the biggest names in the NBA world today. And a big part of that comes down to his ability to create viral moments, making even his biggest haters tune in and listen to what he has to say. Since he first entered the industry, he has helped grow a platform that gets the attention of even the biggest name players, for better or worse.
He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about him again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
And with his level of popularity, it comes as no surprise that Stephen A. Smith has made some enemies along the way, including some that went way too far.
Stephen A., you bald forehead motherfucker. I don't know why you got people thinking you tough. Saying all kind of shit like, oh, then you come see me. I'll slap a tooth. It'll look like you got a toupee on the front of your head or how hard I'll slap the back of your head, motherfucker.
So why is it that the basketball world doesn't respect Stephen A. Smith? Well, to best understand that, we need to look at Stephen A.'s backstory. Stephen A.'s journey to becoming the face of ESPN started out after his miserable basketball career had failed, leaving him no choice but to choose a different path. Stephen attended Winston-Salem State University after receiving a scholarship to play basketball for legendary coach Clarence Big House Gaines.
And I was introduced to Clarence Big House Gaines by a former player of his who was a family friend by the name of Harold Funny Kit. And he took me down to Winston-Salem for a tryout. So the coach put me on the basketball court and I went around the court and I was passing the ball and the coach blew the whistle and told me to come over there. And I came over to him, he said, didn't they say they brought you down here because you could shoot? And I said, yes, sir. He said, well then, goddamn it, shoot the basketball. And I hit 17 straight three-pointers. And he signed me to a basketball scholarship on the spot.
However, his performance of 17 straight threes in the tryouts wouldn't transition to his college game, somehow averaging 1.5 points in one game.
Telling us I only played one game because I cracked my kneecap in half, but that's neither here nor there. I tried to play. I really couldn't play. He was kind enough to keep me on the team or what have you, but it is what it is.
So after a severe knee injury that left him with a 6-inch screw in his knee, to this day, Stephen A.'s basketball journey had come to an end in the blink of an eye. However, this turned out to be a blessing in disguise. With his playing days behind him, Stephen A. can now dedicate all his time into what he was destined to become, a sports writer. Smith's tell it like it is style began since his early days in college. While still on the team, Smith wrote a column for the university newspaper, arguing Gaines should retire due to health reasons. Stephen A. would go from writing for Winston-Salem State Journal to Greensboro News and Record to the New York Daily Times. Then, at just 26 years old, his big break finally arrived, when the Philadelphia Inquirer offered him a job. He covered every game, press conference, and even behind-the-scenes moments, often resulting in him being one of the first reporters with scoops and insights. And in Stephen A.'s words, he was promoted 9 times at the Philadelphia Inquirer, and one of those promotions led to him becoming a full-time beat writer covering the 76ers, which could not have come at a better time since Allen Iverson was just entering the league. AI and Stephen A. would quickly form a close relationship, so close in fact that other NBA players were surprised to see a reporter and a player have such a close bond.
There is no way in my mind I would be sitting here today with the success that I've enjoyed if it wasn't for Allen Iverson.
And it kind of tripped me out because that's not, not that you guys are the enemy, but most guys don't get that close to the other side, so to speak.
That's right.
As AI would become the most popular player in the world, just behind Jordan, this boosted Stephen A.'s career, having all the inside information when it came to AI, which benefited him so much that ESPN offered him a job as an NBA analyst/insider. Even though he showed early signs of the loud personality he's known for today, this was when Stephen A. was still highly respected in the industry, known for always having the best knowledge on the topics he talked about. Does anyone consider Stephen A. Smith a good basketball commentator? He was 20 years ago, but now he is just there to build outrage and give hot takes because they give better ratings than thoughtful analysis. After a few years building up his reputation at ESPN, he earned his own TV talk show, quite frankly, with Stephen A. Smith. This had a similar format to some of the most successful talk shows that we know today, like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Ellen DeGeneres. Stephen A. would have athletes sit down for a one-on-one interview in front of a crowd, and he'd be able to have players open up more than other reporters were able to do at the time. And in my opinion, this show was ahead of its time. If it debuted in the 2010s when other talk shows were thriving, people would have appreciated this show a lot more. But unfortunately, after just 2 years, quite frankly, with Stephen A. Smith, was cancelled. I hate to see Stephen leave. I truly enjoyed his show. Stephen A. is a class act, and it's a shame that his show was cancelled. His vibrant personality brought a new approach to the scene. Though it wasn't all downhill from here, at least not yet. Stephen A. would branch out to different shows around ESPN, such as Pardon the Interruption, SportsCenter, and even interviewing players, including LeBron James. An interview that most likely will never happen again.
And that's why I certainly don't like him.
Though, don't get it wrong, it wasn't like Stephen A. was this cool-headed guy on the screen. He was now figuring out how to get people to watch, whether they liked him or not.
One, number two, and more importantly, Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball.
And would cause early signs of the backlash that would follow him for years to come.
Stephen A. Smith is eating cheese doodles. I am Stephen A. Smith, and these cheese doodles are delicious. They are the greatest thing I have ever eaten. Stop boring, Stephen A. He'll scream at you. Stephen A., you got your cheese doodles? Quite frankly, you need some cheese doodles. Oh, Stephen A. Number two.
When his career finally seemed solidified at ESPN, it all came crashing down when Stephen A. posted a blog announcing his departure from ESPN. But there was a lot left out in this post.
So he basically said that you're not coming back, and it's because a collection of us don't want you anymore. I remember how devastated I was, but I tried to hide it. I said to him, who knows, I said, I thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but who knows, maybe I'm fortunate and lucky enough to get back some. And he said, yeah. Just shrugged it off. And then I was eating my salad and I said, I don't mind eating right here. Can I finish my salad? He said, sure. And he got up and he walked to the other side of the room and left me sitting there eating by myself. And what it said to me was that they wanted nothing to do with me. And that was devastating.
Luckily for Stephen A., he was able to come back to ESPN after proving his worth at Fox Sports Radio. Joining First Take with Skip Bayless, Stephen A. was finally stepping into the spotlight he had spent his whole life chasing. But his rise came at a cost. The very thing that got him there, real journalism, reporting, credibility, slowly faded into the background as his opinions replaced the facts. If you have ever watched First Take, you would already know how heated it can often get, sometimes leading to controversial takes that many disagree with. And it wouldn't be long until Stephen A. would start having feuds with the very NBA players he covered. Shortly after the 2015 free agency began, Stephen A. predicted that KD could possibly leave OKC and land in either Los Angeles or Washington.
Now I'm hearing otherwise.
I understand.
Okay, I'm hearing he's going to stay in OKC, or that LA's a viable option, but Washington is still a possibility.
Given his reputation for staying glued to Twitter and sensitive to criticism, it was no surprise that KD fired back almost instantly.
Kevin Durant responded to this on Friday. Here's what he said. I don't talk to Stephen A. Smith at all, so he's lying. So he's making up stories. Stephen A.
Kevin Durant is the one that's lying. I've talked to him on several occasions, literally within the last year. Let me be very, very clear, my brother, it does not fit. You are in no position to question my credibility whatsoever. A matter of fact, one would argue, what position are you in to question the credibility of anybody in the media?
And when KD joined the Warriors, he instantly became the league's biggest villain, and Stephen A. let him have it.
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. What I still will proclaim to be the weakest move I have ever seen by any superstar in any sport, by leaving Oklahoma City to go to the very team that beat him a month later.
Yet, after KD won his first ring for the Warriors, his mother went on First Take to confront Stephen A. However, if you thought bringing KD's mother in this would stop their feud, you would be completely wrong, because in a few years, this feud was only going to get more personal. Speaking of things getting personal, there's no better example than what happened between Stephen A. and Glenn Robinson.
There's one particular athlete who's now retired. I despise him, and he despises me because I called him. I'm not going to tell you who.
Come on,
you
who
understand
is
what I'm
it?
saying? Glenn Big Dog Robinson.
Okay.
Back when Stephen A. worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer, he publicly called out Robinson for the way he treated head coach Randy Ayers, a black man. Stephen pointed out that Robinson had no problem following orders from George Karl, a white coach in Milwaukee who was making $7 million a year. But when Ayers, a first-time head coach, making a fraction of that, got the job in Philly, Robinson reportedly disrespected him and didn't buy in. To Stephen A., that was hypocritical, because apparently Glenn Robinson stated beforehand that black coaches need to get supported more. But when it was his turn to be coached by one, he did the exact opposite. Although Glenn Robinson wouldn't give any of his critics attention during his playing career, including Stephen A. That would be until 2016, when Stephen A. was asked a question about athletes he doesn't get along.
It was that I saw this man march lockstep with what George Karl wanted to do, because George Karl getting paid $7 million a year. But Randy Ayers becomes the head coach of the Philadelphia 76ers. He's on a 3-year deal, but he's only getting paid $1.5 million. You treated this man like trash, but you'll come and talk to reporters about how brothers need to facilitate brothers being hired, but you had one. And how'd you treat him?
So Glenn would let him have it.
I mean, I want the brother to advise me for another 12 years. So, I mean, you know, if you really want to, I mean, we can set something up and put it on TMZ Sports, and we can take it to the cage.
I stand by every word that I said in terms of its facts. The level of disrespect he showed towards Randy Ayers was so egregious, so unnecessary, so Bush League, that every single criticism I gave him at that time, he deserved it.
According to you, what I'm getting out of this is, if I would have treated George Karl, which is a white man, if I would have treated this guy like trash, and if I would have treated Randy Ayers, which is a black guy, a brother, if I would have treated him great, then you wouldn't despise me. Well, what does that make you? That makes you a racist. And you're also a hypocrite, because right now you're Skip Bayless's crash course dummy.
Although these two have never seen or spoken to each other since, Stephen A. eventually realized that these two went way too far and attempted to make peace.
But we took it too far. I remember, I forgot which city I was in, but his son was playing. And I walked up on his son and I said, I want you to know I'm rooting for you. That whatever went on with me and your dad, I was wrong. It was just a disagreement, and I should not have allowed it to get as far as it got.
Regardless, this was around the time that Stephen A.'s co-host Skip Bayless had left ESPN to join Fox Sports. So now, without a doubt, Stephen A. was now the face of ESPN, bringing in a new co-host on First Take, Max Kellerman, who himself would later turn out to be one of Stephen A.'s many victims. Regardless, this was a new era for the show that would not disappoint. Following an embarrassing finals loss and growing tension between the two stars, Kyrie Irving requested a trade out of Cleveland. This news had the media in a frenzy. With all the subtle shots that Kyrie and Lebron were throwing at each other, Stephen A. of course had to weigh in.
According to my sources, LeBron James has tried to appease him at every turn. A matter of fact, I had sources in LeBron James camp literally tell me, and I'm quoting Charles, if Kyrie Irving was in front of LeBron James right now, LeBron James would be tempted, quote, to beat his ass, end quote.
LeBron would quickly deny these allegations. When it comes to the players that Stephen A. covers, all he can really do is drop his hot takes and not much else. But now, with his growing influence at ESPN, his power has gone beyond just hot takes. He's got the kind of leverage where if someone crosses him, they can find themselves off his show, just like that. When Stephen A. chose Max Kellerman to replace Skip Bayless in 2016, it seemed like the perfect match, as these two would give us so many memorable moments.
Don't know what the subject is, because the fact of the matter is I'll let you talk. I didn't say a word. Not a word. I actually sat here. And listened to your flagrant ignorance. I'm not even talking to you about this no more. It's ignorant.
Okay.
I'm not even talking to you about it no more.
Stephen A.
Yeah, but please, why even bother listening?
Right now, Molly?
Bro,
Yeah.
let's go to break. Let's go to break. Go ahead.
But what us fans didn't realize is that there was growing tension between the two that ultimately ended with Stephen A getting Max kicked off for First Take.
It was like I was damn near doing the show by myself because we were oceans apart in terms of cachet. When I went upstairs to management, my exact words were, look, if he's that important to you, give him First Take. I'll leave.
Stephen A.
Stephen A. I'm telling you what I said. I'm only giving you what I said.
Old school trick.
I'm only giving you what I said.
God, he went in that office hot.
2 hours later, I got the call. We're making a change.
Stephen A. Smith's ego got in the way. He always thought he had the trump card when debating the NBA because he covered it. Several times, Max completely dusted him on the NBA topics, but then he just resorts to dumb logic. I bet Stephen A. loves waking up in the morning knowing he's debating Perkins and Mad Dog. And to add insult to injury, Stephen A. didn't even attend Max's last appearance on First Take, with most fans stating that this clip was the very moment Stephen A. knew Max Kellerman had to be off the show.
You mentioned obviously Max is going to get in here, and like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A.
Tom, with all due respect, my brother.
I'm just saying, dog.
Wait a minute, wait to finish.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to check you right now. You don't cross the line.
I'm just saying.
Not every Stephen A. Smith feud that a player may come across has lasted forever though, as was the case with Kyrie Irving. Uncle Drew wasn't exactly beloved by a lot of people at his time with the Brooklyn Nets, not least of all Stephen A. Smith, who was handed some harsh takes without remorse that went as far as involving Kyrie's father. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Kyrie was the most hated man in the NBA, constantly missing games due to being away for personal reasons. And then a video surfaced of him and around 20 other people at a birthday party with no mask. This would result in a $50,000 fine and missing a total of 7 games.
Do you think that Kyrie is worth all of this drama?
No, he's not. He's not worth it at all. A matter of fact, I think Kyrie Irving should retire.
It really hurt to see some of my friends, some of my peers saying the things that they said, and they did not know what was going on. I saw so many people I looked up to talking about who I am as a person and told me to retire, told me to give up.
This hate that Kyrie was getting didn't faze him at all, refusing to get the COVID vaccine, which meant he couldn't play any home games for the Nets. And then he decided to opt in to his $36 million contract.
I saw the news. I know you saw the news. Oh, Kyrie Irving, you opted in after all. Took that money, didn't you? No matter what options you may think you have down the road, it all starts with you having to show up to work first. You don't show up to work, you're stuck. Because even if somebody wants you, they're still gonna require that you show up to work, which means those long-term commitments, that guaranteed 4 years over $200 million that was waiting for you, ain't gonna work that way.
At Stephen A. Smith, you're gonna have to explain yourself to people in your generation. I'm not around many 50-plus-year-olds that speak and act like you do, so this is new for me. But I'm sure my father and my uncles can meet you on your level better than I can. However, once Kyrie was traded to the Mavs, these two seemed to eventually settle their differences.
We were at the Staples Center. Kyrie rose up on me. He taps me on the back and he's like, you still got that same energy face to face? I said, I'm standing here, ain't I? And he was like, it's really not about me anymore. And I looked at him and I said, you're right. It had become about me and his dad and how we had elected to communicate with each other. And the shame of it is I'm 55. Obviously, his father is around my age. And the younger son was the one that had to educate us.
Although now Stephen A. had the most power at ESPN he had ever had, his new co-host JJ Reddick was able to prove him wrong so many times that somebody made a compilation of JJ Reddick owning Stephen A. Smith for 17 minutes straight.
Jimmy Butler's, all his points don't come from finishing at the basket. We've seen him hit plenty of perimeter shots. He can do that.
What does he
can do that.
From the three? What is percentages?
Well, I'm just saying a jump shot. You trying to tell me Giannis is the same quality of jump shooter as a Jimmy Butler? You saying Jimmy Butler's that bad?
I'd have to look up Jimmy's numbers from the mid-range, I would, but Giannis shot over 42% from the mid-range this year, which is well above league average.
Oh, my God.
And Jimmy shot in the 20s and the threes from three for the last
First of all,
2 years.
Jimmy Butler missed some time during this season. Let's take that into consideration. A lot of times.
What does it have to do with his shooting percentages?
First of all, JJ frowns at all this stuff like he's scaring somebody. He's scaring no damn body. I appreciate the suit.
I'm not trying to scare you, Stephen. I'm trying to debate you, and I'm trying to point out how erroneous you are sometimes.
At the end of the day, it was never going to get too personal between JJ and Stephen A, as they were co-workers. However, the same can't be said with Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown, without a doubt, was one of the biggest draft busts in NBA history, being selected with the first pick in 2001. During the time his career should have been thriving, it was going as bad as it possibly could, averaging just 5 points, 1 assist, and 5 rebounds. Then in came his biggest hater.
Kwame Brown is gone. The city of angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense. Doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it.
For some reason, Stephen A thought trashing Kwame on ESPN wasn't enough. So he went on a nationwide tour, traveling to different colleges, talking bad about Kwame.
You with your scrub, no offense having sex. Just said that. I mean, that's just blasphemy. You should apologize for bringing that up. How are you in the league for 10 years and you're still the same scrub you were in 2001?
Though during his playing career, Kwame chose to stay silent and not respond to his critics. That was until he created his YouTube channel and went off on Stephen A.
Stephen A, you bald forehead motherfucker. I don't know why you got people thinking you tough, saying all kind of shit like, oh, then you come see me. I'll slap a it'll look like you got a toupee on the front of your head, or how hard I'll slap the back of your head, motherfucker.
Although he would admit that he regrets ever starting the beef with Kwame.
Kwame Brown, I wish I could do that over. I wouldn't do it. I know what I said. I did mean it. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I ain't mean the shit I said. But I didn't know it was gonna be like this.
After a brief hiatus from their drama, KD and Stephen A were back to beefing.
Steph Curry, he changed, he changed it. People say he changed the game. No. He elevated it to a point where it was acceptable because you're looking for somebody to produce somewhere close in the vicinity of what he does and what Klay Thompson does. The guy I love so much that I believe is the greatest player to have ever played, Michael Jordan, is responsible as much as anybody for changing the game for the worse. When you consider you. Stay with me on this.
My theory is that guys like Steve, Skip, and Shannon have changed the game for the worse. Players like Stephen and Michael can only push the game forward. And just 2 years later, Stephen A would critique KD's leadership.
He's been relatively leaderless. He's been very lacking in inspiration in terms of peeling out from those around him whatever you can give.
With a quick response by KD, saying, yeah, Stephen A, I don't understand how people even listen to Stephen A. I've been in the league for 18 years. I've never seen Stephen A at a practice or a film session or a shoot around. I've never seen him anywhere but on TV talking shit about players. He's a clown to me. He's always been a clown. You can write that too.
I stand by every damn syllable I uttered about him. I said what I meant and I meant what I said. His leadership has been brought into question.
I would disagree, Stephen. I would argue passionately that my intangibles have always been on par with my talent. Although all these beefs have been crazy in their own way, they've all been overshadowed by Stephen A's most recent feud, and that's with LeBron James. Just like his feud with KD, Stephen A and LeBron had a long break from when LeBron called him out during the Kyrie situation to what has recently transpired. After Bronny had his most embarrassing performance against the 76ers with a stat line of 0 points and 1 assist, of 0% from the field, so bad that coach JJ Reddick had to explain what went wrong.
Maybe put him in a tough spot, flying up yesterday and, nationally televised game and Philly, all that stuff. It's, he didn't play well.
But once Stephen A gave his opinion is when he crossed the line, in LeBron's eyes at least, by critiquing LeBron not just as a player, but as a father.
I'm really trying to be as respectful as I possibly can be towards LeBron James. One of the top 2 or 3 players in the history of basketball, number 2 in my eyes. A treasure to the game of basketball that we should and will all miss when he is gone. I am pleading with LeBron James as a father. Stop this. Stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad.
Which led to the infamous moment when LeBron confronted him in the middle of a timeout.
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like, seriously,
Stephen A managed to spread misinformation when it came to saying LeBron did not attend Kobe's memorial, when in reality, LeBron was there. He just asked for no photos to be taken of him.
I never brought up really and never really discussed why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service.
Yeah, so other than spreading misinformation, Stephen A basically said LeBron was mad at him because he doesn't call him the GOAT.
History. I have this man number 2 overall. It's not enough. So much so that you go this route. It's very unfortunate that he has done this.
While guys like LeBron and KD feel his opinions are shallow and meaningless, others acknowledge the power he holds in the online sports community. You can debate all you want about Stephen A's credibility or whether or not fans respect him at the end of the day, but the undeniable truth is his relevance. With that, he has always stayed true to himself and stuck to his guns in the face of his biggest haters. So don't be surprised if a part 2 comes out after he's finished with a new fresh batch of enemies.